Hey birdies! Welcome to my sketchbook flip through. It's been a while since I've done something like this because it's been a while since I completed a sketchbook. So let's get to it. This is Hobonichi Techo Avec style from 2022. This is January to June, so there's 6 months of planning pages for daily pages for this book. This was a special edition that was distributed in the lucky bag of 2021. 2020, so like in Japan during New Year's, they release lucky bags so that they can like increase sales for their end of year reports and stuff like that. So sometimes you get like really special items to get people to buy a lot of things. So if you bought a lucky bag in 2021 or like early 2022 of in Parco Pokemon Center, no, actually is if you bought the lucky bag from the Nintendo store at Parco, you can redeem a Pokemon lucky bag, and this was a special item included inside. It's a collab of Game Freaks, obviously, with Hobonichi, which is very, very special. Yeah, so it came with this book along with the pencil board that celebrated the Legends of Arceus. Sorry about the ring light. That celebrated the Legend of Arceus, and yeah, like I couldn't resist, so we got this off eBay and I decided to use it as a sketchbook. So I started when I received it around, I think I received it around like mid-January. So this is actually when I started, and as the year went by, I like filled out the dates like on the day of. But then obviously I didn't do drawing daily and I fell off track. So there were many pages that stayed empty. And I decided to obviously go back because I didn't want this book to go wasted. I decided to go back and fill in ink drawings as I go, like here and there on a whim. But then in end of March this year, 2024, I realized I didn't have that many pages left. Okay, it was like 40 to 50 pages, and then I was like, okay, well, why don't I just make it a bit more, draw in it a bit more actively, and then see how that goes. And I got to 40 pages, and I was like, okay, let's do a 10-day challenge, and I can record it on TikTok and learn how to use TikTok at the same time, and it'll be like a whole thing. But towards the end, I got my period and I got really tired and I couldn't move. So the last little bit got skewed, but I still got it done in 10 days, which is great. So I wanted to do the flip through and tell you about my thoughts about that challenge that I did, and what I guess like a bit of like how I feel about ink drawing. So let's just start. Oh, and here's some goodies. This was a funny sticker that my friend Wynn sent me. And then this was a Moomin. I always keep like a lot of stuff inside my books. Let's see. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. So if you've never seen Hobonichi Techo, it's very coveted by it's very coveted by fountain pen ink users because it's made with Tomoe River paper, which is really good for fountain pen ink. This is the old style Tomoe River paper and not the new one, just to be precise. The new one, they have a different formula and it reacts a bit differently, but it's all very fountain pen friendly. Depending on your taste, obviously. Everyone has taste for different things. I like it. You don't have to like it. It's up to you. So if you've never seen a Hobonichi Techo, this is the Japanese version. So it starts with the yearly calendar page, and then a very succinct like monthly list page. And then there's the monthly calendars. You see I've filled up a few pages here, but that's about it. my focus was in the main pages here. Yeah, so these are drawings that I did, I think, from 2022 to now. And let's just go through it. I really like this one actually because some of the fountain pen inks I have, like the Marzipan Lemon, is very bright and I wouldn't write with it. But it actually looks really cute when I use it to draw. Oh, I should introduce you. So this is the Kakimori Nib. It's from the company Kakimori, and they developed this really interesting nib with it's like a cylindrical nib with grooves inside. So when you dip it into ink, the kind of like the capillary action captures the ink, and then you can have quite a few, like a very long session before you have to redip because there's so many grooves. And because of the shape of the nib, you can do like a fine writing like this, or if you draw, you can also do large swaths. So a lot of people actually use this for ink swatching, which is to check the colors and like how the ink reacts on paper. But I really I'm not an ink swatcher, so I like using it for drawing. I don't really use dip pen for writing. I could, but it turns out while I was playing with this, I was like, actually this is fun for drawing. So that's how I continue to use it. And this drawing is done by the Kakimori Nib, so I can do fine lines and then use the lean it on the side and use it to color in the shapes. And I really like how it's almost like swatching because I'm laying down ink in a very large amount in these kind of spaces, but also using it to write, so I can have a writing sample of the fine lines and how the ink look in a very fine line versus the larger swath. So in the end, I think it still served its main purpose. And I had a lot of fun like using it and seeing how I can incorporate this tool into ink drawing / like ink painting. So not all of the drawings are done with Kakimori because I was still like testing out. This is like a street photo that I had taken. So this was like gel pen because like my main purpose for this book was to just draw, and then the ink came second, but then became forward as the star of the show. This sketch of Madion, Pokemon ink sketch, and I tried to do some coloring pencil. This is done with fountain pen for sure. This is, I think, fountain pen too. I really like Dracozold. This was a fountain pen. I think this is an architect nib. This is fountain pen. So I would sometimes alternate like a ballpoint or gel pen on one page and then ink on next page because I didn't want the ink to seep through because I was using so much ink to color in. The resistance of the paper is really, really good, as you can see here. Like, you can see ghosting, but there's no bleed through. So to prevent even more bleed through, I would sometimes do gel pen, and then afterwards I gave up. I was just like, ink all the time. So here's some Pokemon drawings. I really like doing Pokemon interacting. So there's always like different species. I try to anyways. Lo-Fi Girl. This was also fountain pen. This is some watercolors here. I actually really like some of these previous drawings. These are all my original characters. This is my least favorite drawing in here, I think. No, actually there's a couple, but I don't know what was going on here. Willfall fauna. So just different species. This is Bumble Chicken again. This was Nobark's song. So I was very, I guess, experimental / free about what I was doing in the beginning. I love Slew. This is when Arceus came out. and then there's movement, and I was like, wait, well, isn't there a movement here? I was looking at this and I was like, wait a second, why is this such a I was like, drawing the same thing over and over without realizing, because I did this recently, and then to see it on this page, I'm like, oh, I've just never changed. Yeah, so these are all ink drawings. These are a bit newer from 2023. Infernape. This is 2023 as well. So actually the majority of these drawings are from 2023. These are more OCs. And then these were like getting experimental about using Pokemon for a random Pokemon generator. So what I did, one of my like low priority goals is to draw every single Pokemon at least once in my lifetime. And to do that and to avoid drawing the same ones over and over again, sometimes I use a random Pokemon generator. And I think in this one, Mega Mawile came up and Why Not came out. So I decided to draw like them in the kitchen together. There's like Meteor here, and then Shaman Flowers, and there's a Leafeon cup. Forgot the name. Oh my gosh. But more Peko and Lickitungue's evolution. Fable. Sparky's Quest, if anyone knows what that is. Got a little Snorlax Omurice. I think this one was one of my first drawings using the Kakimori Nib inside this book, and then I was like, this is such an interesting... Here, let me show you. I thought it was so interesting how the ink laid out, and I loved the like seeing the shading and the properties of the ink, so it really charmed me into using the Kakimori Nib to draw more in this book. So yeah, I like this Huntail here. Oh, and this is color pencil. This is old. These are old too. I like how these look. I think this is the same ink. Is it? No. I don't know. I should have written it, but look how pretty it is. There's like multicolors here. Really, really like it. Yeah, some drawings are more complete than others. Like, I would never draw Greedent, but because the random Pokemon generator told me to, I drew it. I like how that one came out. Oh, and here you can see the ink color bleeding through each other on the page. But that's because I put so much water on this paper. So I'm like testing its limits. This Chumicho. Oh, I have drawn Chumicho. Okay. These ones, I love the colors like this. This is gel pen for sure. I love Slowbro. So sometimes I forget. Oh, this one. I really like this interaction idea. I always think about like Pokemon in their environments, or like how they would interact with each other, and Pokemon that have like same themes. So like, I forgot this Pokemon's name, but it's like it makes thread, and then as I'm showing this video, I just forget all their names. But basically, it's like seamstress Pokemon, and then helping them like repair each other. It's just like Pokemon that would fit together, I think. It was during the Pokemon random Pokemon generator gave me a lot of incentive to think about how Pokemon would interact, and then on top of that, it's like, how do I execute that on the page so that it looks, I really like this color. How do I execute that on the page to make it look good? Because I wanted to build like little scenes, but not like, and be able to execute it in one shot. So it became a big puzzle of like, how do you draw this? And how do you simplify shapes? And how do I lay colors and not, I guess, like interfere with elements in the drawing itself. These are old as well. This is also one of my favorites. I love swirlix. I don't know what happened to the other side. So I have a few pages where I stuck paper on top. Little variants of Sea King and their like spottiness. Zangoose and Severper. Raikou, old ancestor. Audino, Mega Audino. Sinistra. No, this one is. I forgot. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm forgetting all their names while I'm recording. This is old as well. Oh, it's so weird. Oh, like, I know these Pokemon, I just can't name them. These are Tamagotchi. So I've always been a big fan of drawing just with ink. It's been many years since I don't draw with pencil anymore. The only time I use pencil is really to lay down like final pieces that I need to do commissions for, or for like Patreon artwork I need to lay down pencils to make sure the drawings are correct. But when I'm drawing like this, I don't use pencil. I just go straight in with pen. And it's a really good exercise to create muscle memory of like different shapes. So a lot of these shapes become familiar to me and I'll execute them without really a second thought at all. The only like downside about it is that it takes a long time to get to that point. I think I've been drawing with pen for many years, but it's so rewarding because then I'm like, wow, look, I did this without pencil. And the good thing about not doing with pencil is that it doesn't, the eraser's friction doesn't harm the picture, because sometimes the ink pigments will kind of like come off with the eraser. I think some of the pieces I did try to do a bit of penciling just for like foundational and proportion composition purposes, but when I erased it, it was just, I didn't like how it looked afterwards. So in the end, I just full on straight away with ink. Sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, but most of the time I try to make it work. Like this one, I remember it wasn't great when I laid it down, but you know, you try to keep going and build upon different ways to draw or like different, it's basically a puzzle. You make a mistake, but then it's like, how can I make that mistake work for me? So I will end up doing different, try to look for different ideas to incorporate into the drawing. Like this one, Dragonite's back wing is not black. It's not like dark colored. It's actually, I think he's kind of like caramel orange. And it's still caramel orange, but I'm like, oops, I laid it out. So I'm just gonna even it out with the next side. Like, it's okay. I'm not printing this. It's just for me. Yeah, I made that mistake, but at least it's still readable. Like, so I still enjoy this drawing, even though there's like this little mistake. Nothing has to be super perfect. And this one, I remember I did it completely off center. That's why it's so much more leaning towards the center. I was like, center of the book, and I was like upset about it, but I'm like, it's fine, it's just a sketch. But a Mimikyu. I really learned a lot about like thinking quickly about how to incorporate different elements. There's like other videos where there's another video I think of me drawing a cacnea drawing, and I explain my thought process about how I go about choosing Pokemon and how I go about choosing the scenery. And I think just doing it more and more regularly really helped me to think faster and also solve the problem of how it would look much quicker than before. Because before, the drawings would take up to, it still depends on the complexity, but the drawings can take up to like 20 minutes, but then the easier ones become shorter and shorter, and I've had recordings of like 8 minutes, and I'm like, oh wow, that was really fast. And it feels really cool that I gotten to this point where I can like draw this quickly without any penciling. I particularly like this one because I forgot this one's name too. Katastaka, I think, is a Ultra Beast, and I'm very unfamiliar with Ultra Beast because I didn't play Sun Moon 2. But also Pokemon that only have one Pokédex entry were much harder for me to think about the environments because it didn't have like a whole lifestyle kind of like picture from the words. So I really like how it came out because it's like I put in the runes of Alf and these are unknowns, and it actually says what are you, because Ultra Beasts are from another dimension. So even though it doesn't seem like much, there was a lot of like thought that went into how is Staka Kata I don't know his name like work in terms of a drawing, and how does it work in the world of Pokemon, and what would make it interesting. So there were like eyeball designs. I was like, actually unknown is like has this same kind of design, and it'd be really interesting. Plus unknowns are found in the ruins of Alf, so it's kind of like brick-like, old style brick and runes, and so is this Pokemon. And I was like, oh, actually this is a perfect match together like this. Plus unknowns are alphabets, so it's like I can make a message like what are you, because they're like from outer space. So that's like how I go about thinking about like how do Pokemon relate to each other. And I have to say like Pokemon and Pokédex entries are one of my favorite things about the Pokemon franchise. So doing this kind of project was a real delight for me to read all their entries and then trying to incorporate like Pokemon environments and ecology, because I think that just makes their world so much richer and cooler to have like them interact with each other. This one was another Ultra Beast. I already forgot their name. That was really hard because they have this kind of like 3D in a 2D space kind of design. So it was like clown pattern. So I was like, oh, circus, another circus one. These are some Tamagotchi drawings because I love Tamagotchi. Oh yeah, this one was actually really interesting because Weevil, I found out their Pokédex entries had mentions of like 3 or 4 other different Pokemon that they use as prey, and Mamoswine is one of them. But those kind of Pokemon entries just make that particular Pokemon's life so much more interesting, because then I'm like, oh, it hunts in the ice together in a pack. Oh, these are the Pokemon that it looks for prey, so it's like how would they do that in a group and stuff like that. So yeah. And then like relating that to like real life ecology where like lions hunt in a pack to take down one giant prey. So it's like it's kind of like that. So I enjoyed it. Yeah. And then also tried to incorporate where, like another factor why I try to incorporate sometimes is like where these Pokemon are found. This is actually Triton City. I forgot. It's in Unova, and it's where the waiter gym leaders are. And so I pulled a Simipour, so I decided to add a Pampour and then Simipour. And then since it's, I put a little Froakie. This is a statue that you'll actually find in the city courtyard. And this is Gotita. And if you read the entries, it's pretty wild. And I was really happy about how this one came out because they make friends on like moonlit nights, so they can like take over little kids. So it's like, oh, kids and like little puppets, and I had like a little bit of like Madoka vibe, and I decided to incorporate like little shapes of like other ghost Pokemon inside. So there's stars here, and then at night they take over. These are also old, when I was like experimenting with dip pen and using ink to color in. I actually really like these two Actually, this one was really good. This one was one of the first Pokemon drawings, actually. Ink Masquerain. And then some of these ink have a lot of shiny glimmer bits. This one I did for New Year's. Like a plate of... Oh my gosh, I can't remember. You guys, I can't believe I'm sharing this video. Like, I can't name any Pokemon. Donzo, and Sushi Pokemon, Tatsugiri. This one I definitely made a mistake, but it's okay. It's Luxray with, in the style of the Yamato Transport logo. I really want to like make this into a sticker because I think it's cute like to have like these transportation and delivery style like Pokemon stickers, so I'm gonna try to do the sticker of that. I love Sylveon like matched with Hydreigon. There's an official photo of them two like fighting and I'm just like, this is the most beautiful official art. This one I think was like an attempt at something. I don't think I finished it. I'm not touching it for now. Halucha, Kubfu, and then I drew this for Year of Dragon as well. This is Heliolisk. This is my original character 6C. I really like how this one came out too. I like started to do these like big swatches and then going back with the finer tip to like add more texture into the ink, and it became really interesting. This is a Ditto prompt, so from here to the end mostly they're all done with like the Kakimori Nib, and it was part of my 10-day challenge. It was not easy. Actually, these weren't, never mind. But here, no they're not. I like how they came out with a postal, USPS postal mock-up. I got this on a random generator, and I would never draw Matang ever, or Beldum. Like these kind of Pokemon, I would not draw Ultra Beast. I will not draw really hard designed Pokemon, but because I did it, because I pulled it, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, woo, one more done in my roster. Morshana. So, I pulled Komala, and I was like, oh, which other Pokemons are sleeping? Snorlax is sleeping, but I already drawn Snorlax. And I was like, what other kind of like dreaming, sleep related? So Morshana came to mind, so that's why I drew them together. This is Slither Wings? No, I think so. I really like the design for it. Delphox, like as a witch, and then there's like witchy things around. This, I have to say, Inteleon was really hard to draw because I don't really know anything about him other than he's kind of like a sniper spy kind of vibe, and I was like, how do I even incorporate that? But I follow this Pokemon artist on Twitter, and they drew him very like a K-pop style, like handsome. So I was like, okay, let me do like K-pop like deco sticker style, and then the background is Rose City. I don't know, sometimes ideas work and sometimes they don't. I'm lucky that most of this book has been good ideas, and I was like, oh, it's good. This one I mainly wanted to match because of Vileplume, and then I got Among Us. I was like, okay, I want to put another foresty kind of next to each other. Pessimian was really hard. Little jockey, too jockey for me, but it's done. Bulbasaur, I forgot I drew Bulbasaur in the beginning, but it's okay. Like, I got Venusaur, and I wanted to draw all of them together. Cloth was really hard because, again, not too many Pokédex information, so I looked up vintage signs of crabs, and one of them was this vintage sign of like, watch out for crabs, like be careful, they'll pinch you in Japanese. So I decided to draw it with cloth. Not the greatest execution, but it's legible. It's like, it's a sign at a beach to be careful, a cloth like pinching your fingers. Rodam and Porygon. I like this pair together a lot. I think it's like fun because they're so glitchy. I was also proud of this one. It's Beware at like a wrestling stadium and like totally hugging Machamp to death, because that's how like Beware's Pokédex, it says that it can crush a human if it hugs too hard. And then Torterra has like a tree on the shell, and I was like, wait, yeah, Gmax Snorlax also has a tree on its belly, so I thought it'd be funny to have it like insectioned. This one's a little boring. It's done. It's fine. Caracosta with little crabbies on top. There's an episode of BBC Nature where you can, like, there was a segment of like crabs traveling on top of tortoises, so that was where the inspiration came from. Xatu, Dustox. I had fun drawing this, but it was hard because I was like not sure how I wanted to incorporate it. And then I had Simisear and Flareon together, cozy. I got Hisuian Gudra with little Goomy here. He just looks worried and he doesn't want to get out of the forest. I got Dodrio. I thought it'd be cute for a little chick Doduo next to it. I wanted to draw 2 Persians with Berserker like in a Spider-Man like pointing Spider-Man style, but it was like too weird to execute. So I was like, I'm not like other Persian. You're not, because you're Berserker. Miss Magius in a more like frilly pattern. And here are the last few pages, so I wanted to do 2 colors. So Galarian Ponyta. And one of my favorite Pokemon, Dragalge. And another one of my favorites is Umbreon. The last 4 pages I chose because I was like, I want to draw what I want to draw. And then this is Milotic and Swirlix. Yeah, I like how the dual colors came out. I would have added more pink, but I ran out. I finished some ink samples during this challenge, so I'm like, woo! Alright, this is my ink sketchbook. Thanks for watching, and also if you followed me or supported me during this challenge, thank you so much. You can see some of the posts on TikTok and I'll try to like compile them later, but I am so happy I finished. I definitely like learned a lot, like internally how to like, I felt like my process speeding up more and more as I practice doing inking and like drawing with the nib like this. I like, once again, like a lot of people are always like, how do you do this? How do you get good at something? And again, it's just a lot of mileage and a lot of hard work. I think the first few days it took me at least an hour and a half, but like towards the end, actually on one of the days I did 8 pages, and if I had spent like 3 hours on that would have been too much, but I managed. It was really good. Yeah, I would definitely recommend people to set like little challenges like this for themselves, and like something that is doable, that you know you can do. I think 4 pages was way too much for me, but I still did it. I skipped one day. But yeah, it was a really good learning experience, and I have like a really beautiful like collection left, and I hope this inspires you to like pick up a pen and pencil, maybe just pen, like, because I'm totally endorsing drawing with pen. Drawing with pen is awesome, you guys. Please try to just draw with pen and forgive yourself for mistakes, because then you could just let that go right away and then move on again. It's pretty like freeing at this point, for me anyways. I hope you will find it less daunting and find ways to like go over that challenge and then use it as a like a opportunity to learn how to problem solve and jump over these little mistakes. But yeah, thanks for looking at my flip through, and I'll see you in the next one.